In the councils of government, we must guard against
the NFL draft.
Industrial complex.
What's going on, Packers fans? Aaron Nagler here, joined by Tyler Brooke for another edition of the Draft Industrial Complex. We are, Tyler, 1 week away. How you feeling?
That's how I feel. It's like a wave of almost relief at this point.
Yes.
I finally, for the first time in my life, got to 200 graded players.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Madman. You're a madman.
I'm watching white secondary players, which we'll talk about one of those in a little bit. But I can't wait for it to be. It's a great 3 days, especially just like I love seeing the fits of players, not even just the Packers, but like sometimes you'll just see a fit. You're like, I love that, and then it's always fun to watch these kids in the preseason too. In like 3 years, you're like, oh, I remember watching.
I remember him. He's never cracked a lineup, but there he is in the preseason, still
there you go.
Toiling away. Yeah,
good to see all this knowledge I have in my brain is still there for week 2 of the preseason.
Well, and this week we thought we'd kind of dive into all 7 rounds because at this point, the draft media as a whole has pretty much exhausted anything and everything they can say about, say, the top 25 dudes.
Have you heard about Travis Hunter? I heard he's pretty good.
I heard he might play both ways. Like this is the thing. So this week we're going to go through all 7 rounds, and Tyler's going to give us a player from each round. Now, obviously, the first round selection will be someone we probably have heard and talked about a lot. But down the line here, we'll go through rounds 1 through 7. The Packers have a pick in every round, 2 of them in the 7th, but we only need 1 player. But this is going to be fun because, like I said, these are most likely going to be a lot of guys I haven't heard of. So we'll start, obviously, in round 1 with pick 23. And this will all assume that they are at their draft slot. So take this with a grain of salt, as it were. But it's Thursday night, a week from tonight, and the Packers are on the clock. Who does Roger Goodell say into a microphone is the latest member of the Green Bay Packers?
I mean, there's a lot of names I want to say.
Yes, but it ain't that kind of exercise.
Yeah, and I wanted to make sure intentionally, especially on these earlier picks, I'm mentioning, mixing up the positions,
right? Trying
to give names that we haven't talked about already on here. First one's kind of unavoidable, it feels like. I feel like we've kind of hammered every single pick. But first pick, I'm going to go Mykel Williams. I want to say Shamar Stewart. I so badly want to say Shamar Stewart.
Right.
I think the league's going to value these 2 guys pretty highly.
Yeah.
One of them, I think, might slip, and I just imagine it's Mykel because he didn't put up the best tape in 2024. But he's the guy we talked about a couple weeks ago with bullshit strength, right?
Yes, sir. Love it.
He dealt with an ankle injury that he rolled in week 1 of this season and just kept playing through it. So if you're wondering, doesn't have a lot of production, tape's not very good. Go back and watch 2023 if the Packers end up taking him. Like, you see a guy that is extremely powerful and quite honestly doesn't really know what he's doing yet as a pass rusher.
Right.
But for his length and strength and physical tools and just demeanor, like he is, I don't think he's an outspoken leader, but he is one of those guys that's very cohesive to a locker room because he's just put my head down. Yes, sir. Like, let's get it done. I think that's a good compliment to a lot of the personalities the Packers have on defense right now. I just love the strength, the edge setting tone. I think he has the athletic ability to be a productive pass rusher. And listen, if you just want to rotate him and LVN, hope one of them figures it out.
Right.
It's a good bet. One of them has to.
Upside,
they're both freaks.
Point. Well, and the idea that you just mentioned, the fact that coming off of let's call it a down year as far as just the film and the production, he fits perfectly with what the Packers have done recently, especially as far as finding guys who maybe are on a bit of a downswing their final year in school, but certainly have plenty of tape throughout their college career to show what they're capable of and to show the upside that is possible. I mean, the whole thing is a projection, right? And if you can take those tools that you've seen throughout his career and mold them in your program, that's an exciting addition. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
All right. Then we move down to round 2, where, I mean, look, if you want to make me happy, I know you can just say Jaden Higgins and we can move on, but I doubt that's probably the case.
I mean,
who you got in round 2?
I originally wrote him down for 23 because I just wanted to have that take. If they take him in the first round, I am not going to complain. I genuinely think he's that kind
so
of
many people
player.
Will. That's the funny part.
They're gonna.
So many people will.
You want to know a secret? You want to know a secret? They're always going to complain.
This is fair. This is a true story. You are correct, sir. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk about Higgins. We've talked about it so much already.
Right.
A name, if you listen to Draft Talk with me and Justice Mosquito, we talked about the other day. Justice heard Packers might be interested in this guy as a break in case of emergency option. Alfred Collins, the nose tackle out of Texas.
Okay.
We can have a whole discourse about taking a nose tackle and what you do with Kenny from there, but like this is a tremendously powerful early down run stopper who's got some juice and twitch to him. Just doesn't really know what he's doing as a pass rusher yet. But holy crap. Again, another strength guy. I wouldn't put him in the bullshit strength tier. He's teetering it. He's pretty close.
He's sub bullshit strength. I understand.
Yes, exactly. Just one tier below, which is still pretty dang good. I mean, run stopping nose, he's listed at 6'5", 320. He's wide. He's going to eat up blocks. He's going to own the point of attack. You know, whether it is like getting extended and then getting disengaged or just holding a double team. Like I don't have any concerns about that. He's pretty quick, like with processing. Like there's a couple plays I've seen. They're throwing a screen, right? So he's being left completely unblocked. He snuffs that out like that. And he has enough athletic ability. He can snuff that out and make a play. Again, pretty big. Doesn't really know what he's doing yet as a pass rusher. I don't think you're just going to find a lot of naturally polished pass rushing interior defensive linemen.
That's why they go early. Right.
Yes, exactly. But I mean, the tape's pretty dang fun. He's a pretty dominant player, and it really helped Texas's edges cook this past season because he's just able to eat so much up on the inside.
I have zero issue if they take a nose tackle with a premium pick, like right.
Me
If it's
too.
a second rounder, I have zero issue with that. As far as lining up for, Kenny Clark is probably going to hopefully move to nose this year, and we're all pretty sure that this is going to be Kenny's last year in Green Bay. Unfortunately, so yes, get that guy in the door and ready yourself for the transition along your interior. I love this idea. I'm on board, 100%. What about the third round, last pick on Friday night? Who is I can't remember who it would be. What former Packer will be at the mic announcing which name?
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, of course.
I know you and I have known each other since I was basically like a child. I feel a little old seeing the names that are announcing, like all these legends, and I'm
legends,
like,
and
they haven't played that long ago.
They're guys you watched, right?
Yeah.
Welcome, my friend.
So that one's going to be kind of weird, but I'm going to go with the Packers visit. We haven't addressed the offensive line yet, right?
Correct.
Anthony Belton out of NC State is a guy I think has some tackle guard. He's most likely a guard.
Right.
But kind of one of these guys that the Packers love with versatility. Like this is a dude, we keep talking about arm length with all of these prospects that are tackles that'll be moved inside the guard. This dude's got like 34.5-inch arms. He is a mean son of a gun. Like he not only wants to run block, he wants to hurt your feelings when he does it. He's looking for work when there's not anything in pass pro. He's going to need some work if he's going to play tackle at the next level. Like he's not horribly unfluid. That's not a good phrase. He's not very fluid, but it's not like it's a horrible weakness. He lunges a little bit. His feet are just a little slow. That length's going to really help him out if he has to play tackle at any point. And I just think an O-line room like the Packers makes a ton of sense for him. You know, beyond this year, maybe he's just a stash guy and let him bench. And then next year, if they move on from Rasheed Walker, hey, it's now a battle, a kind of a three-way battle. Are you going to have him and Jordan Morgan compete for left tackle? And then are going to have him, Jordan Morgan, and Sean Ryan compete for another guard spot. Like, there's a lot of potential ways there, but like clearly the Packers need depth. Like, I think they have a good starting five. I'm still not sold on what's behind it, and I think that's incredibly important to keep building out depth out there because we saw how much it cost them in the playoffs.
Absolutely, and I think we've talked about it a lot here on the channel, but you're never set at either cornerback or offensive line. Like, those are two positions where you're never going to go wrong adding to those rooms just because for the reasons we just talked about as far as it can bite you the most inopportune time. And the Packers were really cohesive along the line last year for the most part. And that's not a normal thing year to year, right? You're going to be tested. Your depth is going to get dipped into. So the more you can add to it, I have zero issue with that. I love that pick.
Hey, no team's better at dealing with offensive line versatility. We can argue the Eagles are better at developing offensive linemen. That's maybe one of 2-3 teams that you can argue against the Packers.
Absolutely.
I think Stenovich has done an outstanding job in that regard as well.
No doubt.
I just love give me a guy that can play technically all 5 positions.
I'm absolutely into it. And then we flip to Saturday and we start the gauntlet, as it were, with the 4th round. Who you got the Packers looking at in round 4?
Listen, I love the draft. Even Saturday's a grind for me, man. By the end of the day, I'll never forget the last 2 years. My girlfriend sees me after stage. She's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like,
Oh
"No."
no, like people don't understand. They don't get it unless
No.
they're in the mix. They don't understand what a kind of bear Saturday
It's a
can
brain
be.
drain for
The
sure.
way they've done it now, and the way they've
Mhm.
set this up, and they just have this gauntlet on Saturday. And there was a point last year when I was very, very kind of punch drunk and kind of losing it around round 5 or 6, somewhere on there, all on my own there in the studio while we were live streaming. And I said to myself, never again. This is the last one. I am never doing that Saturday live stream ever again.
Is that when Corey had the whole rant about my former employer and
Oh
Yelp?
no. Corey hasn't been on for the last 2 years, so
Smart.
I've
See,
been
he's
holding it
smart.
down. He's smart. He got out ahead of it. Now I've been holding it down for the last 2 seasons, and
Okay.
this last year I was like, nope, never again, absolutely not. So that all that said, we will be talking about all these guys. We'll actually be doing reaction videos for each
Yeah.
pick, but it's the 4th round. Who am I doing a reaction video on?
So I was gonna say Torrey Horton because the Packers brought him in for a visit.
Brought him in,
I
right.
feel like we've talked about him. I know I've talked about him with Justice.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go different because I think Torrey Horton's getting played out at this point. Can I pitch you on an X that's not a field stretcher?
Well,
I'm just kidding.
I'm assuming that's what's on offer at this point in the draft.
Listen, I know everyone wants the vertical deep threat guy, but Pat Bryant out of Illinois was one of my favorite evals as a
Okay.
big-bodied X guy. Like,
Right.
again, you're not getting the burner that's gonna throw a 9 route and he's gonna go past the guy, but this guy is pretty technically sound. He's big. He can manipulate DBs with his shoulders and eyes. I think that's where he sets up a lot of his separation. He is a beast after the catch. I think he had 2 game-winning touchdowns in the last 30 seconds this year, maybe 3. And one of them is that they literally just run like an in for him, like a 10-yard in. And there's no timeouts or anything. And I don't know what he does, but he just goes, "I got it," and goes 40 yards. And
Knows the angles, traverses the field, and touchdown.
Very savvy as far as once the ball's in his hands, like how to manipulate angles and get through DBs and stuff like that. He's a very, very fun player. I don't think people are talking about him enough. I see way too many people have him as a day 3 pick. I've got him in my top 75. I'm a huge fan of this kid.
Awesome.
Again, everyone wants to talk about the juice, explosiveness, top end speed. Like, this guy isn't going to be that, but he is going to be a productive wide receiver in the NFL, in my opinion.
He sounds like a perfect Packer, actually. The old school, like they want big guys who can go over the middle, and
he's also a
do
big
something
guy that
after
can block.
and do something after the catch, and block on the perimeter in the run game. Sounds right up the Packers' alley to me. What about round 5? Now we get into. I love the old, like Justice said this years ago, and I 1,000,000,000% am on board. Like after round 4, the draft is over. You're pretty much just throwing darts, So I love that image. Who are we throwing darts at in round 5?
I mean, this is almost. I watched this guy last week, and that's how late in the process we are. But I'm gonna bang the table for this kid, Bilal Kone, cornerback out of Western Michigan.
Okay.
A really tumultuous upbringing and early stages of his career, but this kid just put it on this year. 6'1", like 190, really fluid, really good foot speed. He's not like a true burner, but he's got enough speed and he's competitive as hell. Really throws his body into contact at the catch point or making a tackle. He had like 70 solo tackles. And again, we're talking like MAC competition, but turn on the Ohio State tape. And he is actively going one-on-one against Jeremiah Smith and holding his own.
Okay.
Very impressed with the tape. I was like, okay, this is like a real gosh darn player here. Big fan of him.
None of those fake players.
Not a fake player.
No.
I just love the way he's wired, and he's really fluid and lengthy. And maybe the technique's not there yet, but I think you're just scratching the surface of what you're getting from him. I think he's going to be a winning football player. Maybe not right away. He's going to develop into something.
I mean, like I said earlier, you can't have too many corners, and we've talked about it here quite a bit and other places, that they need that room to kind of get elevated, so to speak, when it comes to especially the talent floor, So bring them on in, let them compete. I'm all in. I love this idea. Then we get to round 6. Who are we looking at in the 6th round?
There's going to be like a 30% of viewers / Packers fans are going to think this is the greatest pick of all time. I've got a white Wisconsin safety for you.
Oh my goodness. The mustard is off the hot dog.
In Hunter Wohler. I Archon at Acme Packing Company bugged me forever to watch him. He's like, I really think this is a winning football player. I was like, yeah, I'll get to him. Finally got to him. And like, he was not messing around. Like, this is a big, lengthy box safety. We're not talking free safety. This guy's playing in the box. He is supporting the run. Second play I watched of him against Penn State, a receiver's coming in to like crack block him, right? Like, they run like a fake slant and try to climb up to the safety, and he sees it coming and just launches himself into the receiver. Awesome. And then the receiver starts chirping him because he's pissed, and he's just like staring. He doesn't. You can see he's not reacting. He's just staring at him, and I'm like, this kid's wired some kind of way. Do not trust him in man coverage. There's going to be some coverage limitations with his fluidity and things. I think he's a kick-ass special teamer.
I was just going to say, I got to imagine, especially in round 6, this is a guy you want on teams.
His effort is outstanding, man. Like, again, there's going to be some deficiencies in his game. We're talking 6th-round picks. His hair play. He plays with his hair on fire.
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah, I know. Ha ha ha. He's just, his intensity and competitiveness and wanting to trigger downhill. It screams special teams player to me. It reminds me a couple years ago, Miami safety James Williams, who I think is still around the league, just pretty good special teams player. He's going to play with the utmost intensity.
Love it. I mean, gosh knows they need it on special teams without a doubt. Always looking to improve there. And finally, Mr. Packers Irrelevant, 7th round pick. Who are we looking at there in the green and gold?
Listen, I've got no idea where running backs are going at this point. They could all go in the first 3 rounds. I don't know. They're all really good. Taj Brooks out of Texas Tech is an absolute bowling ball. And when I think about what the Packers need, it's kind of like a 911 emergency. We need some kind of something there. You don't want, at this stage, you don't want a burner, because that's what we're hoping Marshawn Lloyd is, right?
Right. Give
me the contact balance guy. If knock on all of the wood possible, but if something happened to Josh Jacobs, you need a contact balance guy in that backfield, especially with the way the offensive line's getting set up and all that. He just breaks a lot of tackles, man. He's really dense. Like, there's a lot of things he's not good at, but he can certainly break tackles. It's something I love in my running backs. I think he can take on a pretty big inside run workload and, just keep feeding him the ball. Hope he breaks a couple tackles, move some chains.
If I'm Matt LaFleur, first thing I'm asking is, how's his pass pro?
I don't even know if I watched it, man.
Well,
we're talking day. I was trying to speed run day 3 picks.
You didn't deep dive into these 7th round picks.
I've watched 17 games of each player, actually. So
that's nuts. Okay. You are nuts. I love it. But I mean, look, you go through the list of what you kind of just laid out, right? And I don't think any of that is unlikely. You know what I mean? As far as the positions hit, the guys and their histories and where they would fit initially in the on the Packers roster. Was there anyone that you looked at, maybe thought about but didn't pull the trigger on anywhere throughout this process, or even like undrafted guys who you thought, we couldn't really fit them as a draft pick, but he's pretty good? Was there anyone that you didn't get to that maybe could potentially, you could hear their name throughout the next week?
Okay. Yeah. There's a guy I keep thinking about, and I've never talked about him, but it's a guy I really like that's probably a day 3 edge. Because I can see a scenario where, like, we keep talking about Packers being pass rushers. The way the draft board could play out, they still don't take one early, on Saturday. Antoine Powell-Ryland Jr., that's a mouthful, out of Virginia Tech, 6'3", 250. I think he actually wins in a variety of ways as a pass rusher. But then, not the biggest guy, but I think he actually has solid enough play strength and plays with extension to handle the run. It's a player I thought he was overall solid the entire time I watched his tape, and he's not going to blow you away with any specific traits. But if you can do a little bit of everything, like, I think there's a home for you in the NFL. It's a guy I keep coming back to. I just haven't gotten a chance to talk about.
I love it.
First name came to mind.
Well, put him in the Packers uniform and let him go to work. Absolutely love it. Tyler, I really appreciate it. Like I said, we are 1 week away. Hopefully you'll be jumping on our live stream at some point throughout next weekend. It'd be great to talk to you.
I'll tell my boss, I'm technically working, making graphics. You might see me like say hi and then turn and work on something.
It's all
but
good, man, the graphics got to get made. It's understandable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But regardless, we'll do a wrap-up episode after the draft where we can talk about everyone the Packers selected, and obviously it'll be mostly the guys that you just talked about. I have zero doubt about
all of them.
All of them. Every single one.
I do want to give a shout out to Acme Packing Company, because I think one of the things that we're, I still consider myself part of that, even if I don't work there anymore. the amount of hit rates we've had with day 2 and day 3 picks since I came along a few years ago is actually kind of scary. So
Right.
we'll see what happens.
I love it. Well, we'll be keeping track, and we'll talk to you after the draft. Thanks so much, Tyler.
Of course.
In the councils of government, we must guard against
NFL Draft.
industrial complex.